Today I want to finish up, at least for now, a series on what it is that makes a Presbyterian. We've talked a little theology, and we've talked about some of the guiding ethos beneath our tradition. And I know I've said it many times, but I cannot say it enough. Nearly everything we believe, we hold in common with the vast majority of the Christian church. What makes us distinctive, and for that matter what makes any group distinctive, is how we arrange the parts and how we bring some of the things to the fore that other traditions move to the back. Today, I want to end with a word on how Presbyterians understand what it means to live as Christians in the world at large. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Saturday, October 5th, 2024. 100-odd years ago, German sociologist Max Weber created a typology of Christian churches that included a type he called inner-worldly asceticism. His typology, like that of H. Richard Niebuhr a generation or so later, tried to understand how different kinds of Christians relate to the world of culture. Most of the time that we apply the term ascetic to someone, we mean someone who has largely withdrawn from culture and lives an intentionally simple life, even a life of voluntary poverty. These kinds of Christians live this kind of life to separate themselves from anything that distracts them from focusing on otherworldly things, such as contemplation of God. The term inner-worldly asceticism was therefore something novel and surprising. Nobody thinks of ascetics living worldly lives, but that's exactly what Weber described. He used the term to describe Christians who tend to live a relatively simple life, but one in which they see their lives in the world of culture as the location of their calling in life. Calvinists were a prime example of this type of Christianity. Not only did they not reject the world, they saw their worldly occupations, no matter how secular, as Christian vocations. In a later book, he coined the term Protestant work ethic to describe this kind of life lived by these Calvinist inner-worldly ascetics. I mention this because Weber describes in sociological terms something that is near to the heart of Reformed and Presbyterian belief and practice. There are at least two elements at work here that have historically driven us Presbyterians. The first of these is our belief that there is no part of the world that lies outside of God's purview or outside of God's concern. The world was created by God, not just the physical world, but human society as well. From this belief, it is just a short step to realize that no matter our occupation, we are participating in God's world. Calvin's Geneva became a remarkable place for business and commerce, as well as an unusually clean and sanitary city. For Calvin lifted up all occupations as holy. Even the lowly street sweeper knew that when he swept the streets of the city, he swept them to the glory of God. In some Christian traditions, only religious work is understood as holy. Not so for Reformed Christians. All work is holy by virtue of the fact that it means faithful participation in God's world. That's the first part of our Reformed and Presbyterian understanding of our worldly vocation. It is about participation in God's world. The second piece of it follows from the first. What we do in the world, whether as teachers or lawyers, doctors or business people, factory workers or street sweepers, whatever we do contributes to the well-being of society and of everyone in it. When we work at our so-called secular jobs, we are at the same time making the world a better place for the people who live in it. So, for example, the street sweeper in Calvin's Geneva knew that not only was his work holy because it was part of the life of God's world, he also knew that his work made Geneva a cleaner, safer, and more pleasant place to live for everyone. So, one of the things that makes a Presbyterian is the knowledge, often buried deep in our subconsciousness, that our lives and all that we do are part of God's good creation. We participate in holy work, even in the most secular things we do. To put it in other terms, what I do as a minister is no more holy than what you do. That's pretty strong. And now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.